Hey everybody, so unpacking, repacking, doing some maintenance here between trips. I'm fresh off the road from doing a law enforcement pistol and carbine class, and wanted to show you a product that I think is pretty cool. Now, in the AR world, it is pretty tough to stand out because you have tons of companies and influencers trying to tell you whatever they're slinging is dope. And to be honest with you, that's kind of how I felt about this when I first saw it. This is a VKTR Industries series of piston guns. Now, most people, I lost you right there. I actually like piston guns. I spent a lot of my career behind piston guns. I was a PWS athlete for a long time, and pretty much had honed into PWS is the only piston gun I'm interested in. Any other piston gun I'd ever tried, you were pretty much subject to however they gassed it. And if they made the right configuration for you, then sweet. And if not, you just kind of had to deal with it. So when I first saw these, a colleague of mine went over there for a sales position. And so, you know, he was telling me about his thing. I'm like, yeah, cool. But then I actually started looking at it and looking at the technology, and I do actually think these are fairly interesting. It's everything you would expect from an upper tier AR at this point. You know, anything that lives in the plus $1,000 price range. We expect 1.7 barrels, good barrels. We expect 1.25 minute accuracy. I haven't really buckled down on accuracy, but it is exactly what I would expect for a gun of this price range in and amongst its peers. And it is a short stroke piston gun, and this gun really challenges what I thought I believed about piston guns. And for those not familiar, short stroke versus long stroke piston guns, essentially we're talking about from the gas block. When we transfer the energy, there's a few ways that happens in ARs. In a direct impingement system, that's a gas tube that pressurizes a seal in the bolt carrier, and that is the pressure that unlocks the bolt. It doesn't cycle the bolt. That's the pressure inside the barrel. It just unlocks it. But it's true. Anyway, so gas pressure either does that directly in the receiver, direct impingement, or we use some type of what small arm solution we call an external piston system. All right, and so we could have a short stroke piston in which there's essentially a tappet in here. The piston itself hits a transfer rod, which is spring loaded. You can kind of see there that it's spring loaded underneath there. I'm not going to take it all the way apart, but essentially there's another rod that taps it, and then that energy transfer is what unlocks the bolt. Or for a long time when I was with PWS, here's a comparable PWS upper. They have what's called a long stroke piston, in that the carrier key goes all the way to the gas block. So there's no what they would term as metal on metal. There's gas, and that is what cycles the whole thing. There's not gas to metal to metal. And you would kind of, in some systems, like when I shoot the 416 or the Adams system, something like that, you can feel that chain reaction, and the recoil impulse was not very pleasurable for me. I really liked the way that the PWS system was, because it was gas on metal, and sort of discounted all short stroke systems. The problem with a lot of gas pistons companies, though, is you're stuck with whatever configuration barrel they give you, because the barrels are cut specifically for their gas block, so you can't just swap this out for something else. So having a good barrel off the get-go is an important thing, and then you're subject to whatever their gas settings are. This system essentially is self-regulating, so there's no adverse or normal. There's no unsuppressed or suppressed. It essentially uses the amount of gas that it needs, and the rest of it tapers off. And this is a short stroke piston system. So piston systems really shine when you're using short barrel rifles like I have here. So this is a legacy PWS upper that I have from back then. But piston guns really shine in short barrel and suppressed. Doing what I do professionally, a lot of law enforcement customers are shooting SBRs. A lot of them are shooting suppressed. In a teaching environment, I like to shoot suppressed because I'm usually talking in and amongst the shooting. So it's easier for students to transfer between listening to me talk and some shooting to happen. They still have ear pro on, but it's not quite as, it's a more educational experience, which is really the point. So I shoot a lot of suppressed. Now, this particular upper, this is the first time I'd really had it out other than to sight it in. I got about 750 rounds on this thing from when I took it out. I just took it out, put some oil on it, and sighted it in, took it to this class. I was pretty confident it would run in front of students, but that's always a gamble. But I'm just back from the trip. I haven't taken this apart. So here is 750 rounds. This is what a bolt carrier looks like suppressed. All right. So something staying that clean on that high a round count is what's impressive about piston systems. Yes, DI systems can run that long too and longer, but the things that get dirty in direct impingement guns are harder to clean and will inevitably require maintenance sooner than this will, because where the friction is for the bolt carrier, the lubricant stays there, stays longer, stays cooler. There's the same amount of dirt, but it's just up here expelling out by the handguard instead of getting back into your bolt carrier where all your moving parts are, your trigger system, firing pin, and then the bolt carrier itself. So all the moving parts are back here. These stay cooler and cleaner and lubricated longer. Now, lots of folks will say, well, my DI system does this and that and the other thing, and I've never had a problem. People never had problems with manual transmissions either, but automatic transmissions did improve the driving experience quite a bit. So I put this kind of in that category. Do you need one? No, but it is a more desirable experience, especially being left-handed. If you shoot a lot of suppressed, a lot of the gas that's coming out that ejection port is going right into my face. So I prefer to shoot piston guns for a lot of things, especially if you're doing a short barrel suppressed application. This is a Silencer Co. Velos flow-through can. So if you have a flow-through type can on a piston type system, it's basically like shooting a bolt gun, almost, but it's a noticeable difference compared to a direct impingement system. But I mean, look at this bolt carrier that you get. This thing, chrome lined, it's a high quality, it's a high polished part. The locomotion on these things is pretty smooth. The whole thing just shoots like an aggressively gassed, like a properly gassed, not quite like a full competition gun, but a pretty good competition gun. That's about what the recoil impulse is like on these, and it just wipes right off. So wanted to show you guys that if you're looking for an upper or full guns, they do full guns too. I want the short one, which means is, of course, that's the hardest one to get. I already have registered uppers, or lowers, so I just got an upper here. But if you're in the market, you should give these things a look. They are actually pretty premium and good to go. I really enjoyed the time that I've spent with this one. I plan to spend a lot more time with it. Not as exclusive in ARs as I used to be. You know, doing what we do, you kind of got to be friends with a lot of folks. But if you're looking for one, this is a newer company. They're doing good stuff, and it's worth checking out. So that's it. That is VKTR Industries, and they run these pretty cool short stroke piston systems. Really, all I did was put an optic on it. I changed the muzzle device for the suppressor, and I put the Lunar Concepts Wiseman Company heat wrap on there, because when I shoot in front of classes, there's a few demos I do, the handguard gets pretty hot. But this thing does shed heat pretty well compared to other guns that I've taught with before. So it does manage the heat and the dirt pretty well, so that I can focus on the job at hand, which is working with the students. So just wanted to give you guys a look at that. These are kind of new on the market, and they're doing cool stuff. I think he said this is somewhat of an evolution of the LWRC system. So if you're familiar with how the LWRC system works, this is sort of a next gen of that. But short stroke piston system compared to long strokes, still have my long strokes. I still have all the uppers from back in the day. They're all set up various ways to do various applications, but I just thought these were cool and wanted to give you guys a look. But man, a bolt carrier that has 750 rounds on it coming out that clean is pretty rare, so wanted to give you a look at it. That is why you shoot a piston gun if you're into suppressed shooting. So that's all I have for you on that. Bring you some more cool stuff as it becomes available. If you have any questions on these, shoot them to me below. If I don't know the answer, I know the guy, and I'll get the answer for you. So see you guys on the range soon.